let's talk about Skyfox. What can you tell us about Skyfox? Because I
Well,
don't know
and
anything about Jupiter's Legacy, but it does look very interesting.
yeah, that's one of those other ones you ought to either get digitally or they're Mark Millar or Miller. It's pronounced differently each time I hear it, but his books are quick reads, but they're always super good. And Jupiter's Legacy is like got three different trades, and then he's working on the fourth and final one. So, um, but anyway, it's just a story of these six individuals who go to this island, kind of back in the 30s or 40s, back in kind of that Indiana Jones type setting, and looking for treasure, and they come across this thing that gives them all these superpowers, and they go back and be superheroes for eons. And now they've all got kids grown, and they've passed on their powers to them,
Oh wow.
and how their kids are a hot mess. They're not upholding the legacy of the team, and I think they're called the Union. The Union is, their kids are kind of a mess. They're into drugs. They don't want to be heroes, or if they're are heroes, they're not very good. And then you kind of find out that the Union, then they have the second volume's all about the Union back in the 40s and 50s, and how, everyone thinks they're perfect, and it's like, oh, they were pretty screwed up too. So I don't know what format the show's going to take, but we'll see. I'm sure it won't be a direct from the comics. I'm sure they'll change it up a little bit, so we'll have to see what they end up doing. But
So I want you to now, and Ref, if you do you know anything about this, Ref? Are you into Jupiter's Legacy enough?
Well, I have to be completely honest and say that this is probably one of Millar's weakest titles in my sense. Like I feel like he has umpteen different titles or different ideas that he could have thrown in front of Jupiter's Legacy. Um,
yeah,
but it's not one that I've been totally interested in. But anything Millar touches is, and I think Kingsman is a great example. Kick-Ass is a great example of even his stuff does translate to the big and small screen. So,
he did Wanted as well.
Wanted, yes.
All right, so let's talk about Skyfox. What can what can the viewer expect from him?
Well, just based on, and I've got a theory about something, and we'll go into this. But Skyfox is your Batman. He's the Batman of this story, where Utopian Josh Duhamel, his character is the Superman. And so, but this character Skyfox is very much the Batman, and he resorts, if I remember the comic right. And Ref, do you recall much? It's been a while since I've read it too, so there's a lot of details that I'm probably going to get wrong. But I think he starts to kind of turn on the Union and doesn't like how they do things, and it's really kind of becomes a villain to the other characters, but he's really the hero of the story in a sense. So
Interesting.
and I like this actor. My son and I, we love that show Timeless that was on NBC for a couple seasons, and he was the main character in that. It was a good show.
The Flare.
Okay, yeah, so they did change his race. He's white in the comics. The Flare is the Flash, so he's your Flash analogy, super fast. I do remember the comics, and this is the second volume. Raph, do you remember reading that in the second volume? It was like all about them in the 50s when they were in their classic costumes. And I forgot his story. He was kind of he was a bit of a woman. No, I don't know if he was a womanizer, but he
No,
definitely was.
he was very unlikable. I
The Flair was okay.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he had like multiple affairs, and he had a wife at home, and was kind of a d bag.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So and, and and we'll get to the Flair too, his daughter that is in the previews, but I don't think he didn't have a daughter in the comics who was a superhero, so that's new. That's different.
So is that I'm guessing the daughter now is the Flair too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really original.
Well, when you
I mean,
got a
that's
good
pretty hard
name,
work there.
you just keep. Hey, man, when it works, it works. You keep it going.
She has a kid. It's Flair 3. I mean,
Hey, if it works for George Foreman, it'll work for anyone.
I just want to become Flair
When all your
69.
kids are named George, you keep it real.
Yeah,
Keep it real.
I think that's pretty. I'm sorry, as a new viewer of this, that's weak.
Yeah.
Well, I like sequels.
Yeah. All right, I think
right.
that's still weak.
Who we got?
It takes a second to get to it for some reason.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Sorry. I'm trying, man. I really am. Hutch is next.
Oh, Hutch. Hutch was he's a villain. I can't remember for sure if he's the son of a major villain, something like that. But he's a villain.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but he's not a bad guy. He ends up befriending or falling in love with Chloe, who there's a one on her too, Chloe Sampson, and she's the daughter of the Utopian. So she's the prime example of kind of worthless. I don't want to say worthless, but she's not living up to the standard that was set by the family. She isn't even a superhero. She's a model who does lots of drugs, lots of one night stands, and she's kind of just lost. Like a rich, I think he's using like, hey, famous actors and their kids. A lot of times their kids end up not being too great.
Well, like athletes especially.
Oh yeah. So she's that analogy. So she's pretty lost, and somehow she hooks up with Dutch, and they end up discovering a secret, and it kind of changes both their lives. And they fall in love in the comic, and try to correct a lot of wrongs. So we'll see what happens. I think they'll go that same route in the show.
What about Reiku?
I remember the least about her. I think she's just an assassin. So I don't know if they're going to flesh her out much in the show. She's hired. She's kind of a villain. She's, kind of a Deathstroke type, really.
All right. This takes too long.
Ay, 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 papi.
Who is next?
Uh-oh. I got a yawn going. That's not good.
Oh,
don't do that.
Don't do
Don't
that.
do it. Don't you do it.
Don't do it.
It's bad mojo, man.
They aren't pulling up now, believe it or not.
Oh, they're not pulling up?
No. So you got the main. Who's the main guy again? I know who the actor is.
Josh Duhamel, of course. So we all know him. He's the Utopian. He's your Superman. He's a real hero, and he's beat down from lots of years of self-sacrifice and battles and what have you, and disappointment in his kids. Another one on there was Paragon. I think you'll remember this rep, but in the books, he's kind of a loser too. But they changed him in the show to put him in a costume. He doesn't have a costume in the comics. He's just kind of a loser like his sister. But he's definitely got a costume in the show, and it looks like he's probably attempting to be a hero called Paragon. And so I suspect, though, that he's not real great in the show, or not living up to his dad's standards. So
Okay, they're
and then
coming back up now.
oh, okay.
Okay, I'm on Paragon right now, so
Yep, yep. So he's the son of Utopian, and his sister's Chloe.
okay.
So, and again, we'll see because it says a change. He was not he did not have a costume in the show, or excuse me, the comic. So he looks a little more capable in the show than he was in the comic. He was pretty much a loser in the comic.
What about I'm guessing who is Brainwave?
Okay, so that's the brother. He's brothers with the Utopian.
Okay. And then I'm guessing
So
Lady Liberty is the Utopian's wife.
correct.
Now, where have
Yeah.
I seen her before, the actress?
Yeah, it's Leslie Bibb is her name, and it's like she's been in something major, and I'm like, I just need to
I'm gonna look it up because I
Google
know
her.
I've seen it.
Yeah, she's been in something pretty big, some movies, maybe a bunch of movies. So I'm like, golly, I can't place it.
She's been in Private Parts.
Yeah, that's not the one.
What has she been in? Zookeeper, Iron Man 2. She was the reporter.
Oh, she's a reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like she's had an even bigger role than that. I think she's on
Talladega
a TV show.
Nights. She was Ricky Bobby's wife.
Ricky
That's
Bobby.
it.
Oh,
That's it.
That was it.
sweet baby Jesus.
Do you know one of those kids killed themselves? That's terrible.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, one of the boys, one of the actors that played one of his sons. Yeah, killed himself. Really sad.
Now, explain Utopian a little bit. I know you said that he is basically Superman.
Yeah, he's basically Superman. You know, and he's genuinely in the comics. He's he's not perfect, but he's a hero. You know, he's a little controlling, but he's a hero.
But you said they started in the 40s, correct?
Yeah, like a long time ago.
Is this going to be based on like today, or is that why his gray hair? Or
yeah. As you can see, Lady Liberty. They showed some flashbacks in some of these little clips where you see Josh Duhamel young with black hair and his wife with black. So they've aged slowly, but they are starting to age, and so you see some of that.
Okay.
And then Brainwave is like in the comic. Do you remember this, Ref, where I think Frank Quietly, they literally drew him to look just like Richard Dreyfuss.
Mm-hmm.
So Brainwave was, if Richard Dreyfuss was younger, he would have totally been cast as Brainwave.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you remember we loved the show The Exorcist on Fox.
Oh.
So that he's playing Brainwave. That actor is
Priest.
The priest. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, he's Brainwave in this.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. So his brother. So Brainwave's maybe not so nice in this. I won't spoil it, but he might not be so nice.
So when does this come out again?
May 7th. Coming out May 7th.
May 7th. Okay.
It was going head to head with Black Widow, but now it's got the whole weekend to itself for streaming.
And that should help it a lot. Like
I think so too. I think so too. Yeah, it'll be Netflix can now get more press for it and not have to compete with Black Widow's opening weekend.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to spread it out some. So
I think that's gonna be it, unless you have any more, either one of you.
No, I don't. Ref, you got any more thoughts on Jupiter's Legacy, or you might tell them about some of Miller or Millar. We never know how to pronounce it on Netflix. What's your favorite Miller book?
There is so many. I mean, Kick-Ass has always been great, and I'm glad that we have a pretty awesome movie, especially.
Yeah, that first one was great.
Oh yes. I mean, Kingsman was always great too. I
actually prefer the movie to the comic, which is crazy.
Yes. But one of my favorite Millar works is Reborn, and
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
I think it's just a great work, um, and Ace and I kind of follow some of this stuff, and the Sandra Bullock was she rumored to maybe act in it, or
Yeah, I mean, definitely produce it and potentially star in it. So
mhm.
I haven't heard much about it lately, though, so I don't know where it stands right now.
Yeah, the cool thing is Millar is definitely maybe a little bit more liberal with his politics, but he's also a devout Catholic, and
Yeah, he is big
um,
time.
he really did dabble in some weird spiritual stuff in Reborn, and I think that's the
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I recommend you guys read it. He had a very interesting take on what happens after you die. Very, very interesting.
Oh no.
Now, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not any faith. It's not Christian. It's not Buddhist. It's not any of that. It's a whole new, just like a different take on what happens when you die. But it's pretty great. It's pretty fun. I mean, it's really a good story. So
That's
I
what I want
recommend it.
to look
I
into.
recommend it highly.
Hmm.
And then my favorite is Starlight. That they just literally announced. Joe Cornish is the director and writer, and 20th Century Fox, which is Disney, is making the movie. So I could almost see it even going to Disney Plus.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But it's the story of a Flash Gordon type who had all these adventures in space, like John Carter or Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers. And he comes back to Earth, and no one believes him. Like, yeah, okay, buddy, sure. And so, he spent all these years telling stories, and he's an old man now, and he gets brought back to the planet to, like, oh, you're Duke McQueen. We've got to have you save our planet again. He's like, I'm an old man. Like, well, we need you. So he goes back to have one last adventure. So like, really, it's one of my favorites. So
That sounds good.
anyway,
I
check
personally
it out.
liked Wanted. I liked the movie Wanted. I really did. And then I like Kingsman too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kingsman is really, really. I love Kingsman, man.
Yeah.
I do love that. So he's got a ton of other ones. Superior is another amazing book, and
Chrononauts.
Nemesis, Chrononauts. So read them all. Actually, there's really not a bad
And
Millar book.
I think even Millar with his dabbling in the Marvel universe, if you ever want to get a different take at the Avengers and some of the other people he did an Ultimates um, version. It's called the Ultimates. It's a different universe, but it's pretty great. I don't know if you agree, Ace, but the
Oh
Ultimate.
yeah, it's really, really good, and that's how we got Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. He was the first to do that, and it was an alternate universe, and they decided to draw Nick Fury as Samuel Jackson, and then years later they got, hey, you want to actually play Nick Fury, and they got him, and
That's
so
awesome.
that's the definitive Nick Fury now.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
all I got. I think we're done.
I think we got it. Hey, everybody out.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.